team, hope everybody's doing well. Apologies for the delay in posting videos, had some real life stuff happening. Nothing anybody needs to worry about, you all know the drill, just had to man up and push through. You've all been there, done that, so I won't complain. I will complain about Filmora though. This is about hour 3 of trying to get the thing to work, so if you hear any frustration and fatigue in my voice, I do apologise for that. I am presently hiding under the table, rocking back and forth in the fetal position, so we'll see how we go. I do want to say a quick thanks to all the content creators who have been making videos and keeping the rest of us entertained online. Apologies for not being able to get much content out of late. Hopefully I can begin to reciprocate somewhat, and this should be the first offering, I hope. So let's see what I've been up to in the last few months. So the first unit I've managed to complete is the Royal Ecossais from the 1745 Jacobite Rebellion. This was a French unit that they sent over to assist the Scots in their rebellion against the English. The 1745 Jacobite Rebellion is not a period that's too largely wargamed, but I do find it fairly interesting. It's worth a look if you're curious. Duke Wisner, I think it is, Duke Windsor. I'll put a link in the show notes if I remember. Has an excellent channel where he's just gone all in on this period, and it's gratuitous hobby porn looking at what that man has achieved. Just fantastic miniatures, fantastic terrain, and he's gone above and beyond. Everything is done to a very large and exacting scale. It's really, really good to watch. So these are all from Flags of War. Flags are also from Flags of War. They were good fun to paint. I've got 28 figures in the unit, which is a little bit unusual. I originally had 20, was planning for sharp practice, so 2 units of 8 with the 4-man command group, and got these in the first Flags of War Jacobite Rebellion Kickstarter, and then in a subsequent Kickstarter, as well as the firing line troops that were also reloading troops, so of course I had to have those too, which meant I ended up with 28. As there was only 1 unit involved in the conflict from my understanding, I can't really split these into 2, so I think what I'll do is just get another 4 reloading, paint them up, and just have this as a large unit of 32, so it can either be in a firing line or I can rearrange things so it's 4x8. That works out? Yeah, okay, maths is hard. The next unit I managed to complete was 80 Levy for the Saxon Dark Age project I'm doing. These are on 100 by 50mm bases from memory, and were mostly Warlord games with a few of the Gripping Beast ones, which are really nice plastics and rank up to the front of the unit quite well. So I originally had a painting guide when I started doing this unit and didn't pull it up and relook at it, so just went for whatever colours I thought were appropriate. And as you can see in the box, yeah, they were a little bit brighter than everybody else. Still, I'll just say they're from another province or something, that's all fine, or county or whatever they were using at that time. So starting to get enough to actually put a game on, looking forward to that. Next up, another unit of infantry with spears, so this time we've got 30 Celts. These are a mixture of Victrix and Warlord. What I've done with these is taken the Warlord models and put the Victrix heads on them. The ones that have the, I'm going to call it a horse riding pose, but the ones who are all sort of caught flat-footed, look like they're ducking behind an incoming attack, or crouching so that the line behind them can attack. I've turned them sideways and pivoted the head, and it's a much more believable stance like that than having them facing forward. It looks like they're actually bracing for an attack coming in when you've got the shield and a wide stance, so I'm a bit happier with the way they look. The miniatures mix together quite well, so happy with that. The shield decals were the ones that came, yes, they were the ones that came in the Warlord Games box. I may have also got some Victrix ones, I can't remember, and a few were free-handed because I was getting a little bit tired of having to cut around the shield bosses, which I personally found a bit frustrating, so I cheated in the end and just did a bit of freehand. But happy to get these done, more for the project. And speaking of said project, this is a Numidian cohort to accompany them. So this is 24 Victrix Numidians. They're in close order formation, which I think was something that was attempted only in North Africa and only after the end of the Punic War, so it's a bit later than the period I'm really interested in, but I thought I'd do them up just for a bit of interest's sake. And the commander mounted on the horse there was a Crusader miniature, I think. So he was good to paint up. Yeah, well, that's Crusader, because I've got one on foot as well. They do them pairs, which is handy. So I've got another Numidian commander to work in somewhere as well. The skin tone on these guys came out a little bit darker than I would intended, but I don't know if it's worth going back and touching them all up, or I just leave it as it is at the moment. So this is the current state of my Carthaginian Punic Wars project. And just for extra hilarity, this is the 3 divisions of Roman infantry I'm doing up as one big block as far as painting's concerned. I'm just cognizant that if I did one division and then stopped, I'd never come back to it, so I'm trying to get 3 divisions done at once, so I've got a sufficient cohort to build the rest of the army around. Something a bit more fun now. Perry Miniatures. These are Napoleonic Russian Hussars in parade uniform. I went for the regiment that had the least green in their uniform. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of the regiment because I'm only going to butcher it and embarrass myself. But these were really good fun to do. Nice break, nice change of pace. And now have, I think, enough of a well-rounded force to actually start having some games of sharp practice. So going to have to check what I've got on the French side and see how we go. One of the wonderful nurses that had been helping me out for the last few months mentioned that her fellow was running her through the original Hero Quest campaign, so you know he must be a good guy. And she was playing the barbarian and was lamenting the fact that the miniature was a male, so I did up a quick thank you for her and just kick-bashed this out of Shield Wolf Miniatures. I can't remember the name of the box. It's the one with all the Valkyries and Rangers in it. Not the Valkyries, Rangers and Shield Maidens, I think it's called. My apologies. And she was happy with it, so hopefully it gets to see some tabletop action and she can rampage through dungeons and kick things in the teeth and take the treasure. And this miniature was a giftmas present from the esteemed Mr. Horatio Noseblower. Fantastic Vampirella-themed little diorama. So it's taking pride of place in my man cave at the moment on display. Really thrilled with this. It's a really, really cool little diorama slash set piece, so happy to have it up there. Thank you so much for sending this through, really appreciate it. So a mate of mine started selling Games Workshop miniatures in his store, so I volunteered to help him out and paint up a few kill teams for his game night on Mondays, and these are the ones I got done. So I had the, I'm going to say Toastermen because I can't remember what they are, Scutari I think it is, and the Neophytes from the first box, which I'd never actually done anything with, and he had the Space Marines and the Nurgle Marines from the current edition. So I've got all of those painted up. I don't really have much experience painting Games Workshop sci-fi side of things, but I've got to say those Nurgle Marines were a lot of fun to paint. Even if you're not interested in the game, if you can get your hands on one or two of them, just as a painting experiment, there's a lot of things you can do with them. They've got so much detail. They've got gribbly bits, bones sticking through, open wounds. There's a lot of opportunity to play with effects paints and things. You could happily spend weeks painting one miniature. I was surprised by what good fun it was. I genuinely was. Alright team, that's it from me. I'm off to see if I can get this compiled. If you're watching it, spoiler alert, it worked. Look after yourselves, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Take care all. Cheers.